gratitude back out to all those on the other dimensions, to all of the four elements, to the water, to the earth, to the air, and the fire. And coming into our heart center, allowing us to rest there in our hearts and to be listening from the heart as we hear each other speak, and to be speaking from the heart. Sending love and support to each person that shares. And we will be starting with a talking circle kind of format where we take a turn, each one of us. I invite you just to open your eyes and see who's here. Someone else has joined. Nina has shown up. Welcome. And I just introduce myself and Jim, and then we'll go around the circle and invite you to introduce yourself, where you're from on the earth, where your waters are, and anything that you want as a beginning statement to share, what called you here. We have a theme of how do we align all the people in unity to create the future that we want. Well, Jim and I are always very open. Whatever arises for people is exactly what's supposed to be spoken. So we trust that. And my name's Maya Shagale, and I've been representing the water and been a water protector, water supporter, water ceremonialist for a long time. And I know Jim for the past 4 years. We've been in the core council of an organization called Loving Waters that is water stewards, collective of water stewards and water ceremonialists. And I'm also nature-based life coach, an energy healer, and a poet. Sometimes I like to share poetry in these circles. And that's enough about me. I'm so excited to meet all of you that I don't yet know. And Jim, would you like to just introduce yourself and then?
Yeah, I'm going to say a few words about this circle first. We've got 3 circles this week. This is the middle one. And this one is kind of special as far as our circles go. These are the White Otter Academy circles. We've been doing them for a while, I think about 9 months now. And we were doing them with our Australian friends. I don't know if any will make it tonight. They may. We started doing it with our friends from India. We have representation tonight here. But our new friends from Uruguay, I think I said that right, in South America. So after me, I'm going to turn it over to Veronica, and she can tell you a little bit what they're about. This one is, once again, we want elders talking to youth. And I want to thank my Chief Charles, for being here again. Poor Charles keeps getting very short notice on these things, and he's so gracious. He shows up anyway, and that's much appreciated because he brings strong words. People may come. When we did the first one the other night, people kept dropping in, and that's totally fine. We'll just allow whatever energy moves us to move us tonight. And with that, I think, let me turn it over to Veronica, and she can spell out maybe why we're doing this.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you, everyone. I'm very honored to be here. It's my first circle. I live in Uruguay, and I'm learning to be the guardian of the land I'm living on and the animals and that live here. And I feel very moved by sharing with you. Right now, I think. Right now, I'm organizing an event that came from actually another event, which was presential. It was a event focused on multi-generation, mostly parenting in Sweden, and where I could feel the love and the unity between all generations and the wisdom in each of them, and the importance of living in a community with all generations and listening to each of them, to be a full tree and really rise together and be aligned with nature as well. Because yeah, so that for me is like my calling, really strong, to have multi-generational community and unity with everything, with nature, because it expands. I feel this very strongly, like when I'm aligning me and connected with other generations, then there's something happening as a human. It feels like you feel more more nature. I mean, we are nature always, but somehow we have separated a little bit. So the Wise Humanity Summit that I'm organizing now, and it's going to happen next week, starting on Tuesday, is about that, and to take us into what are we part of, and all other stages of life, and yeah, everything. And here, Jim, we connected to, and I felt a strong calling to expand. Even it's like it's now it's just the start. This event is and this, but convergence, and it's like unity is happening in all sorts of ways. So this of looking into the future together and creating these circles, constant circles with all generations, I feel this like is what we need to do. And the tribe, no, like Jim says, no, we are a human tribe, all of us all together, but we can create little communities all over the place now that we can online, and yeah, the web of life, humans connected, and then yeah, expanding to nature and everything that we are. I don't know. I don't know if I explained myself, but I'm very happy to be here and to hear what you have to say, and yeah, to co-create from this space.
Thanks, Veronica. That's why don't you put in the chat as well where they can find your upcoming event.
Yeah.
Charles and I have been honored to been asked to do something. We're not sure yet what, but we're going to do something at that event too. And you're all welcome, because these things have to keep connecting and reconnecting. One thing that moved me when Veronica and I talked, I'm not sure how, oh, she found me by being on Google, which I'm sorry I laughed when I heard that, but it worked. But she told me there were not a lot of elders in her community, only a couple, right? Only two, I think. And so we're talking to a bunch of young people today, those that are here to hear it, and or those who will hear it later. And so I feel very honored by that. I feel this is going to be a special connection. Eliane, we then have doing a program after this, which will also be amazing. So this is going to be a powerful night for anybody who wants to hang in there. And I think that's it. So let's move it along. Who's next on the hit parade? It looks like Tanya's the next on my board.
All right. Well, my name is Tanya Wojtaszek. I live in Colorado, Fort Collins. This is where I'm coming to you from. I am really, really excited to be here today. Thank you for including me. It's such an honor, and I feel so blessed that I get to be part of this circle and hear where everybody's from and what everybody is doing. And it's just what an exciting week this is. So I am fairly new to this. I have been coming into this, I guess, from the angle of climate change and from the angle of social justice. I've just recently had my first event on that, and so that's sort of the arena I'm still finding my way and finding my path through this. But I'm super excited to hear what everybody else has to share and how we can co-create, because I think, like you just said, Veronica, it is crucial right now that we all connect, and that we connect globally and locally as well as globally, because why not? We have the options nowadays, right? With internet and all the great technology that we now have available, we can do this, and we can connect with larger numbers and like-minded people all around the world. And I think it is such a gift that we get to do that. And I do, every time we have these circles, I have a conversation with somebody about that. I keep doing this with my hands because it's an automatic movement, because I just really feel it's connection time. It really is important that we all come together. And I so agree with what Veronica just said on the nature piece. That is something that I think has helped me this year as well. Thanks to COVID, I've had the time to reconnect with nature, to be out and about much more than I have in prior years because I travel a lot. And I think that's kind of put me back in alignment and helped me step into the direction I really need to go in. So I couldn't possibly agree more. It's so important that we all consider nature, that we are in alignment with that, and that we act with nature in mind and in community with, versus against, like we have been, especially in the Western countries. And with that, I just want to say I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you for having me, and back to you, Jim.
Okay, and we could just keep passing along. Rebecca, looks like you're next.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I feel very honored and very grateful to be able to share with you. I am Swedish by birth. I have lived in Mexico for almost 2 decades. And my focus is really education and learning and how to go back to the child, to the inner configuration that each child comes with, that makes them the perfect learners. And what I have learned and seen through all my life, because I've been working with children for 30 years now, is that the school system crushes them. It crushes them, and it takes away all this organic, natural, programming that they come with. It's in our DNA to learn and to grow and to develop. And I have founded several alternative schools, and the last one is completely built upon the basis of self-directed education, where children actually have the right to follow their own instincts and follow their own passions and develop the talents and the skills that they feel that they need, not because we as adults think that we have the answers for the future. I strongly believe that the children have these answers, and even if they don't know it, they will develop them when they go on living, just by living life. And my work has gone more and more in the direction of actually no longer working with the children, but working with parents and teachers in order to help them identify the programming that we carry from living in the society that has been actually constructed and built up through the school system that is almost mandatory everywhere. And it has indoctrinated us, it has colonized us, and it makes us really unfree as parents and as adults. In order to guide the children, we can't. And really, I think it's more the children that should guide us and show us the way. And so big part of my life is really helping adults identifying the programmings that make them interfere in a really negative way in their children's development, and let their children be free to develop and to learn in the way that they were configured to be. So that is what I do, and I am here because Veronica invited me. I was with her last year in Sweden, and I am with her this year at the Wise Humanity Summit. So thank you everyone for having me here.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thanks.
That's been one of my loves for a long time, is transforming our education systems into something that's child-centered and passion-centered, because I believe children learn best when they are attracted to what they know and they're curious, and to start there, and then they will generalize and learn all the other things too. So I'm so grateful to get to know you and that you're here tonight. Thank you.
I know we have somebody who, Sarah, I guess, has to leave early. But I'm going to say, if I may, respectfully, suddenly there's a bunch of us, and it looks like there's a couple more coming. maybe we shorten our intros some, just get to the important bits. So we actually have time to discuss things as a circle, if that makes sense.
But again, a reminder, and I didn't even do it, saying where you're from, maybe
Yes.
where your water is, and what indigenous people are in your area, and just, yeah, whatever project you would like to name you're involved in, and feels relevant to the circle. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to pop in because I might have to pop off early because I have another call right after this. But I'm deeply honored to be here amongst all you wisdom keepers. And I live here in Santa Barbara with my beloved sister Maya here. And I am an ordained priestess from the 13 Moon Mystery School. And in that, I have stepped more fully into being a water guardian. I don't know how many years or what year it was when we had Fukushima happened, and Maya and I came together to begin monthly moon water blessings, singing to the waters and gathering around the waters and really stepping fully into water guardians. And then I was part of another movement called Water Bearers Movement that was getting clean water to 33 million people in 33 days, which seemed pretty outrageous, but it didn't make 33 million, but it was a huge global movement that really brought the awareness of how everyone has the right to pure, clean water. And the synchronicities are lining up here with this being also about uniting with the youth and inspiring the youth to step into their leadership as leaders of this movement to bring harmony and balance back onto Gaia. And I've been part of the Amala Foundation Global Youth Peace Summits that gather youth from all over the world. They're mostly from refugee centers, and they have an experience for 10 days where they really find their oneness and they step into their leadership. And my daughter is now the founder of a new organization called the Institute for Evolutionary Leaders, and it's working with youth from the age of 16 to 30. So I feel very passionate about supporting youth, about supporting waters, about supporting Gaia, and about being here fully in service. And I am so grateful to witness all of you beings from all over the world that we know this is our time to unify and to come back into the heart, our one heart in service. So honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Awesome.
Thank you,
Eliane?
Sarah.
Hello everyone, I'm Alien and I'm a Lepcha from the tribe Lepcha. I'm from the foothills of the Himalayas. And for me, it is such an amazing time to be here because I am walking the path of my ancestors and I'm actually at the beginning of it. So I'm here to receive lessons and I'm here to share love. And yes, I'm very grateful to be here and just looking at and meeting people from all over the world who do the same and who've been doing this for such a long time gives me strength and gives me hope and helps me move on my journey. And the past few circles I've been lucky and I've been blessed to join have really been helping me understand better. And I'm very grateful and I'm happy to see and meet all of you and speak to you.
That's amazing. Would you just take a minute and tell everyone about what you're going to talk about after this program, your program?
Yes. So basically, one of the mediums that I'm comfortable with and I work with and I connect to a lot is textiles and textile art. And somehow these stories, and especially now because there are very few, how would you say, there is very few documentation and there's very few knowledge shared about the Lepcha shamans here. And since I'm very interested and I'm on the path and I wish to be able to meet more elders and shamans and document it and speak of these stories through textile art. But at the same time, it's also to be able to share my own journey, which is what I will be doing today, and the journey of some of the shamans here who I met and interviewed, and also to be able to share with people the ways of the Lepcha people and the different ceremonies or the different things that we believe in and how we go about things. And that is exactly what I would like to do today in the presentation that I'd have later.
Thank you. Awesome. I'm going to shift over to Charles for a minute because his internet's going in and out, and while we got him strong. Chief? Maybe.
Oh, I hope you can hear me right now, because from my understanding, this hurricane's starting to cause my internet to go in and out. So, yeah, I'm here in Kentucky, in the United States on Turtle Island, and I've been an activist since I was 7 years old. I've actually been a buzzard man for burial ground. Uh, Social justice means a lot to me, and other things of that manner. Equal rights for all people around the world is what I'm after also. And being a part of nature and taking care of nature and being what we are. And that's a lot of what we're doing right now, and caring for the water, because Miniwachoni water is life. So I'm here to set with you today and send out the, as good as we can do today, and unite as brothers and sisters, men, women, young people, old people, elders, coming together for the benefit of the whole. So that is one of the things I'm here for. So give it back to you, Jim.
Thanks, Charles. As one of the young people, I thank you for that. I'm going to shift back to Kat.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here, hear your beautiful voices. I'm calling you from Vail, Colorado. My water is the Gore Creek, the Eagle River, leading into the Colorado. And once upon a time, the Ute Indians did live here, but they have all been relocated. That brings me great sadness. I organized TEDx Vail. We're conducting 28 conversations on climate change and a couple of collaborative conferences with Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, Canada. It's enough. Love you.
Love you too, Kat. Thanks. Beautiful.
Thank you, Kat. I'd love to learn more about what you're doing too later.
Kat's a longtime friend, but one amazing person. Sorry, Kat, I had to say that. Who's next? Eduardo.
Eduardo, can you unmute yourself to share? It looks like
if somebody doesn't want to share, of course they don't have to.
Also looks like his screen might have frozen, so maybe
Yeah.
he's having some trouble with his internet.
Okay, let's shift over to Nina. Would you like to share, Nina?
Hi, I'm an attendee, so I don't know if I'm part of the circle, but
Yes, you are.
Okay. Well, I came here because I love learning from the elders. I came from the Filipino American community, and we have also like a circle of elder and youth in that community, and I've experienced conflicts firsthand of how that looks like, especially dealing with the wounds of like colonialism, and still healing and recovery from that as a community. So I'm just really interested to see what I can learn and experience from this circle coming from that vantage point. So I'm from Durham, North Carolina right now, so but grew up in the Philippines. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. And yeah, you definitely, whoever shows up is part of the circle. There's no choice. It's already chosen us.
You were called.
Yeah, you were called. Oh, we missed Amber. Is Amber here?
Amber's there. Come on, unmute yourself, Amber.
Uh,
Welcome.
okay,
Hi,
there we
Amber.
go. Haku, Haku. Um, Hello, how are you? I am a Chumash woman. I live in Ojai, California, Ojai, and our water is from Lake Casitas. And I'm here today just to learn and absorb and to be present. I'm very honored to be here. I'm very grateful to be here, be a part of this circle of movers and shakers in all forms and places. Yeah, my work is seeking bridges between education that is about liberation and is about honoring the planet and honoring all of the ways that we're different. So really embracing not just cultural diversity, but spiritual diversity. And yeah, honoring the past ones, our ancestors, and the forecestors, and becoming good ancestors ourselves. So thank you.
Thank you, Amber. Boy, we're bringing some interesting energy into this circle tonight. Veronica, I'm so glad you connected with me and we had that first call, because that's just gearing things up. I didn't say much about myself, so I better put it in quickly because some of you don't know me, I just realized. I was too busy writing letters to other people. I'm sorry. But there's a big fire ceremony that's going to go on at 12:30, I believe, this evening. Well, actually, tomorrow morning, a couple hours after this. A fire ceremony also from the Himalayas. So if you're still up, not able to sleep like me, you're welcome. Yeah, I'm a absolute mongrel. I am Romani Gypsy by birth. My grandmother was a medicine woman in Italy, northern Italy, and southern Switzerland. But I also have Native American blood. So I am also part of the United Western Lenape tribe. Charles is my chief. And I have a few other little bit of bloodstreams in me as well. So over the last 40 years now, it's hard to believe I'm this old. It just throws me every time. I have traveled around, I have lived with and learned from people of many different cultures. I'm adopted Lakota by Two Bears and his clan. I'm adopted Mayan by Umberto and Alberto and their clan. I got Gray Wolf from my Lakota family. I got Big White from my Mayan family, which they did as they all left. And I learned a lot from my Aboriginal friends who actually came and lived with me. That was the reverse for a number of years. So I've been lucky enough to learn from a lot of different cultures. We didn't have internet when I was younger. And so I had the option of not learning or going and living with people and sitting around the fire and learning. And I'm so happy that I did that. It was not a conscious decision. It just happened. I opened up and it happened. You probably all know the phrase, and if not, you should, especially the younger people. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that's absolutely what happened to me. I kept looking for teachers for years, nothing, nobody. I finally gave up and went about my own business, and then all the teachers appeared. And so I offer that to any of the young people. If you think it's time to move ahead, open your heart, be ready. Those teachers will appear. So thank everybody who is here. This is a really powerful group. I'm hearing a few common threads. I want to see if anyone else has. I'm hearing nature for sure. Nature's my church, so I just smile when that happens. I've worked with Tanya in Colorado before, so she knows most of what I do out in nature, and that's one common thread. The education and learning from the youth. Boy, we have no choice right now. I'm so behind what Rebecca said. I've been doing that for years as well. And now we have the young people standing up and starting to do things in a big way. And the nice part of that is when we were young, some of us, Charles and I, for example, no one stood behind us. We were told to sit down, shut up. That's not happening now. Many of us are here. I see Rebecca's nodding her head, so is Maya. We're here standing behind them. And we will do that. I've been lucky enough to work a lot with the Future Friday young people, and just watching their energy and their commitment and being able to advise when asked. This is great. This is the circle now functioning the way it was meant to. I don't know. Are there any other common pieces, or does anyone want to comment on those pieces? There's a lot of us, so I guess do the hands up thing or something.
Jim, I just wanted to,
Yeah.
I'd asked everybody else to do it, so I just really, I feel I want to name that I am in here in Southern California in Carpinteria, a little beach town south of Santa Barbara. And my water right now is the Carpinteria Creek, which flows down from the mountains into Grandmother Ocean. And this is, I'm really living on a spot which was a Chumash village many years ago, the makers of the tamals, the ocean-going canoes. And I wanted to also share that I have been carrying as a water carrier this crystal bowl of water that has been initiated in the opening ceremony to the Up Convergence, and it is in every room, every ceremony or circle that we've been in. So all the stories and all the prayers and all the blessings are coming into this water. And I will keep it through the week, and at the end, gift it to the ocean. And I just wanted to say, I would like echo something that Charles said as we come together, both as elders and the youth, and also as people from all different walks of life, different countries and different beliefs and different politics. And I've had this conversation in some of the other circles on the Up Convergence. The most important thing is that we learn to listen to each other's stories and really open our hearts so that we can welcome people who believe different things than we do and have values different than us. And, you know, sometimes it's hard now, there's so much divisiveness, but it's like, how do we find that way to really deeply listen? And in that listening, find the commonality, find where we come together. And I just wanted to name, Jim and I are both part of this big project called the World Water Law, which was created by two people who live in Jerusalem, Jan Golding and Shelley Ostroff. And the whole idea was that water would be that one common need, that one common recognition that we are all water. Water's the source of life, and that would be one of the places. But there are many ways that we have the same needs as basic, as humans with a spirit that's guiding us. So I just want to name that and find a way just in this circle that we really deeply listen, but to take that out. And when there is conflict, Nina, that's the fallback, you know, is how can we learn to listen and put aside our judgments. So that's just a little piece that I'm carrying with me. I share that, and I open to whoever wants to take the talking stick next.
We have a virtual talking stick.
Yes.
I could say something. Normally, I'm at the head of projects, and I'm the one who is speaking fastest and loudest and moving many people in many directions. Right, Jim? You can agree to that? There's something. Something has been going on in Humanity Rising. Maybe raise your finger if you're familiar with it. I commend it to you if you haven't had a chance to check it out. Humanity Rising. I'll find the link and put it in here for you. And I've been scribing, and I didn't understand why I was the only one taking notes very carefully of whatever was being said, because the information is very important. And it ranges the whole 360 degrees of what we're trying to adapt to in this moment. And it wasn't until yesterday that I realized, because I'm a classically trained pianist, that my fingers could move at a faster rate than most people. But I haven't been speaking. I've said nothing. And 2 days ago, they have like an after event. And I attended it. And for the first time, the organizer, Jim Garrison, also attended it. And their eyes lit up so big. And I have not said a single word. And I really think there is something genius this moment to be quiet and still and listen and observe. So that's all I want to say.
Couldn't finally unmute. Thank you, Kat. And yeah, this I'm glad we're able to record these things as well, because they're really getting shipped around. We've been surprised by people who have come back and said, "Oh boy, we watched the recording of your circle last month." People from Australia, for example, that's how we first connected. And we did not, again, we didn't intentionally put it out there. But all these things we're doing right now are about connecting us. I went out in nature today because I felt really, I don't know the right word, out of sorts doesn't quite capture it. I just had to go out there for a while, even though I had a bunch of things I should have addressed. No, I could have addressed. And so, yeah, nature is guiding us. The water is guiding us. The animals are guiding us. People like Maya and Kat, Tanya, they're all in the fire belt right now. And some of you others too, actually. And we need to sit with that. What is she telling us now? To me, in the prophecies I know, the fire is the cleansing piece. It has to come before the waters can flow enough to let the new flourish. And I think that's where we're at. Talking stick back in the middle.
Yeah. It's so inspiring to listen to you all, and it's like you all bring something, and it's like I'm trying to think like how is it going to be to put all this together, because when I hear Maya talking about the water and other people, I'm like, wow, this all the elements, to connect with all the elements. I mean, as part of nature that we are, we are all of that, and to know that there is people honoring the fire and the water, and I feel this very important when we talk about the future, the children, and to know Rebecca and Amber, and that we are standing for the children, we're standing, and then we are listening to the to bring the teens, bring all of us together. It's really touching to be here, and also bring back the wisdom from indigenous. I live in Uruguay, and here the indigenous, there has been a genocide here, so there isn't much there isn't much there left, and which is quite sad. And I'm just trying to integrate all that you're saying, and how can we in this council bring it out. I'm thinking in the White Humanity Summit that would be very amazing to have like a multi-generational circle, and that everyone has something to say about the to what can we bring to the future, and it can be even if someone wants to talk for their children and just bring a drawing, anything. I think I want to hear everyone, the babies. I it's yeah, I feel blessed to hear you all, and I'm feeling very inspired and connected when I hear you. It's like a lot is happening in me right now, and yeah, and what I have this very strong calling right now, because we want to create a eco village, as Jim said. In my community, we are around 100 people, and there is only 2 elders, and yeah, I feel like I would love to have more roots, more like the full tree with stronger roots. And we're going to create a community that the people inhabiting the community is elders, but it's also like a center for rites of passage and human development in connection with nature. And it's just downloading this. So when I hear you, I feel to integrate all of what you're sharing, and having like multi-generational circles and all of this. So if you have ideas for this, please, I would love to you can connect with me directly also by email and tell me. Yeah, but this, I take notes for Wise Humanity to have a multi-generational circle if you want to join and support me in creating it. This is very new for me. Thank you. I put down the stick.
Thank you. I certainly will be part of that or help you with that, whatever you want.
And we're starting here. We have one right here.
Bingo. I was just going to say, they're growing. The way these first started, I'll share this real quickly because it's kind of interesting. We were doing other work, a group of men and women, and everybody started to get off when that meeting was over. For some reason, 5 men stayed on. Charles and I were 2 of them. Our friend Brock from Canada was a third. Art from Australia, I forget who else. And for some reason, we just said, hey, we look like a little circle of old men. And we laughed a little, and we just started talking. 2 hours later, we said, we have to do more of these, but we have to open it up. And so that's where these came from, and people just started showing up. Who wants to stick? Who's Charles?
I was listening to Veronica, and one of the things that I would like to tell her, you know, when it comes to the young people, I consider you the future leaders in this world. Okay, we have been there, but you know, as elders, we're passing this down to you, and now is your time. And we as elders are going to walk with you. But this is your time. The young people are the future leaders here. The future is now. And if you look at it, past, present, and future, it's all in that circle. It's all been done. And we're going into a prophecy of our people in a way. And this prophecy is for the rainbow, the people of the rainbow, all people. Because actually at one time, no matter who you come from or where you came from or where of the sacred 4 directions, we were all tribal at one time. So we're getting back into that knowledge. We're getting back into understanding that we're part of nature in itself. And as the 2-leggeds, we're part of that nature. So you have the elders walking with the young people. The young people are with us. Let's share this together. Walk one hand, one mind, one heart, one spirit, and help each other get there. As we give this, we take it together and we move forward. And that's where this unity can come from. So I give the stick back in the middle, Jim.
Thank you, brother. I think I saw Sarah's hand up. If not, it's okay.
Yes, she's unmuted herself. Sarah?
Yeah, I'm gonna need to pop off, but I just wanted to say, Veronica, your passion, your excitement is what gives me hope for our future. Is there's those like you that are saying, yes, you're full of energy, you're full of possibilities, and that is what we need right now. As those of us that have been carrying this torch for eons, we are ready to pay it forward and to ignite that flame within you and let that flame feed us. So I'm so grateful to feel this infusion of inspiration and know that we are here now uniting as the Rainbow Tribe that is bridging between all diversity, all polarization, and coming into a place of unification that is really here to serve the highest good for all. So I thank you, each one of you, for showing up in your own way. And I'm off to another circle of young women priestesses doing their work in the world. So I will take this inspiration and pour it into our chalice well as we continue to stir this cauldron and create new possibilities for Gaia and all of her beings. So thank you each. Much love. Blessings.
Sarah,
Blessings.
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Carry
Connect
that
those.
torch to your young women's circle.
I look forward to more. I am here in whatever way and shape and form. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, each one of you, for receiving me and for opening your heart to share in this heart circle. Blessings.
Thank you.
Sarah.
Walk well in your next circle.
Hmm.
Rebecca, did I see your hand up or no?
Well, I think you kind of felt my hand up. I feel really touched by what's going on, because a young elder, and just realizing that I am a young elder, I can see that I just passed on the baton to the younger generation, and I am walking next to them, and it feels absolutely liberating, and it feels, I can sense my whole being feeling that it has been worth it, because it hasn't been easy. It's been a long, long, long journey, almost walking through the desert for a long time. And finally this year that everyone says it's such a horrible year has been the year of glory for me. I can really see that this is happening, the growth is happening, and the unity is happening. And having felt despair many times, now I can see the hope. I can feel it. It's here and it's real. And it is a lovely thing to see the younger generations actually take on the responsibility and letting me take a little bit of a step back, but stay close by and walk with them, because we have so much to share between all of us. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you, Rebecca.
that's really, really well said. Thank you.
Yes.
And yeah, I could say those same words. It's I was starting to wonder if I was going to make it till this time. My teachers always said, you're going to be here. You have to be a connector. But I was starting to wonder. But here we are. And I see myself now. This came to me not too long ago. Somebody was asking me, why are you doing so much? Why don't you put your feet up? They were politely saying, you're getting too old for this. And I said, I see myself now as a library. And I've accumulated all these books from other people. And I want to make sure that I give out all those books to the younger people before I'm gone. And I think all of we older ones, and elders is not just about age, as you know. I've known some very young elders too. It's about beyond knowledge to wisdom. And so let's give those books out. Who's next?
Jim, I want to add in kind of weaving as I'm more speaking now from elders to the youth. And what I want to say to you younger ones is, yes, we are the elders. And as Jim said, we've had all this experience and wisdom perhaps accumulated over the years. But I want to say to you, don't ever be afraid to speak up to any of us, because sometimes we're attached to ways that are a little, behind, need to change. And what we've learned is maybe a little outdated. So I would say always have the courage to speak to us from your heart with new suggestions and ideas and ways of doing things. And at least in this kind of circles, it'd be well received, but that we need that. We need the fresh newness and way of perceiving things that you all are bringing. So please always speak up. I know when I was young, like Jim said, we weren't so supported in that. And I often held back speaking up because I was afraid to be weird or, not in tune with what everyone else spoke. And sometimes actually I did speak up and I was put down for that. So then I would get quiet again. So now, as well, as Charles says, Chief Charles says, and Rebecca, it is your time. And I hope you will find the circles where you can, you can bring your fresh new perspectives, because we so do need that. Sometimes you can imagine things that we can't because we've been weighed down from all that we've walked through. So.
Yeah, that's a really good thought. I see Amber's hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Maya, thank you for bringing that up. There's been times within the recent last 2 months where I've heard an elder speak that I respected deeply, and they were talking about the term that was just mentioned actually in this meeting. I don't know who said it, but the term of us being one tribe. And this needs to prevail over divisiveness. And what was coming up for me in this conversation, particularly around Black Lives Matter, was that this coming up to the surface of really decolonizing our minds, our hearts, our systems, all of it, the uncomfortability of what seems to be at the outset division is actually the groundwork that is necessary to have the experience of the one tribe. It's not to say that one tribe means that everything is homogenous and that, it's all love and light, and there weren't dark experiences for certain cultures and peoples, depending on the way where they lived even. Veronica, I think you mentioned that there was a genocide in Uruguay of indigenous peoples. So trying to race to the one tribe or just only be about love and light, and we can't have like hard conversations, is contrary to, it's like the Sufis have this beautiful teaching about two lakes. One is the lake of fire and the other is the lake of peace, and most people walk into the lake of peace and watch as it turns into the lake of fire. And only the courageous can walk into the lake of fire to see it turn into the lake of peace. And what this means is that we have to face our fears. Otherwise, they follow us. They will come after us. They will manifest all around us by seeking the very thing that we were running away from. It's interesting. But all we need is the courage to walk 20 steps into the lake of fire and watch as it turns into lake of peace. So that's what I wanted to offer, and didn't feel I had the space or right to, bring up or iterate at the time. But thank you for bringing that up and for this circle. Thank you.
Thanks, Amber. You come up with some deep things. This is Nina, yes.
I know Nina's been asking about conflict, so it's perfect timing.
Yeah, exactly. My experience is actually very related to that. We did have an incident where I had to speak up, and it wasn't pretty. It definitely didn't go smoothly as I thought it would. But I think what I learned from that was not to take things personally, because like you said, like there are just things that elders know that are kind of just different from where they, I guess, grew up in versus where the youth are growing up in, that are kind of different. And just being able to explain, the differences in context or where you're coming from has been, and is still like a process for us to learn how to communicate that. But now there's more trust building that's going on. But the speaking up part definitely wasn't easy. Like you said, it took a lot of bravery and courage, and not taking things personally, and understanding that it's not about hurting that person. You're just like speaking a different perspective. And that's been an area of growth for us in our community. And I just wanted to also add a question that I had in mind a while ago, but feel free to continue that conversation. But I had a question for the elders about, I don't know if you've already talked about this in your previous circles, but I have a question with regards to, what does an Indigenous future look like? Because there's been conversations about is it even proper to claim to be indigenous if you didn't, if you're not, if you're disconnected from that type of era, being someone who's young, and mostly a lot of youth don't have the information about it or very disconnected from it. There's a lot of conversations about romanticizing that, appropriating that. So as a young leader, youngish leader, what I don't want to, like, I am trying to step up as a leader, trying to speak up more, but I also want to make sure that I'm going the right direction according to my ancestors, according to nature as well, but also acknowledging that the environment I grew up in is very different. It's modern, it's, you know, different era. So I'm not really sure if I'm going the right direction. What should that look like? Or is that something up to us? So that's my question that I would love to get your wisdom about.
That's a great question. Let's see. Do we have another 12 hours? No. Boy, I'll take a little bit of that one because, yeah, I've been involved in a lot of conflict too. And of course, when I was your age, I felt the same way because we were very different back then. We were standing up and protesting, and no real group before us did that. We were the first ones who did that, I think, in the 60s. And it wasn't comfortable. And I used to speak and get shouted down, and that was okay. I think that was an important time because I think it helped set the stage. So when you say that, I do have a sense for what you're saying. My world's very different than yours that I grew up in, but I understand the being different part. I understand doing it respectfully. I think if you speak your truth, if you speak from your heart, if you speak what you believe, you're doing it the right way. That is the road. And I've often said things that weren't popular in the past, and that's okay. And I've been accused of things in the past. I've been accused of being too red, not red enough. I've been accused of appropriating things which actually came from my culture, not from other cultures. And, you know, you just have to let that stuff roll off. And we need to come together and share, as some others were saying. Yeah, I mean, let's share these things respectfully. Of course, you don't use things in an improper way. But I've had elders teach me things that are not of my birth culture and ask me, please go out there and share this because you will reach people that I'll never reach. And so I try to do it respectfully. And other things I was told, please don't ever share this. And I don't. So I think in your heart, and this is all heart work. Tonight, we're all working in our hearts. And as you take this road, it comes from the heart first, then into the head. Western culture's up here. Indigenous culture starts here, I think. So I don't know if that helped, but that's just, you triggered me. Who else?
Yes, thank you so much for that.
I would just like to step in and say, yes, that the heart is the center. It is the place of the truth now. When you spoke about indigenous, young indigenous people being cut off from their traditions or from their elders, and sometimes maybe there aren't elders left, like in Uruguay, the young people may not have elders because of the genocide, more recent genocide. You can always call on your ancestors in prayer and meditation, and they are here. And my teacher always said, they are here looking over your shoulder saying, is she going to be the one to heal the wounds that we have suffered? Is she going to be the one to take the next step of our lineage that we weren't able to take? So they are there. And so I say to call on that first, and then to seek out other elders who are in their heart. Similar to Jim, I grew up living in nature, spending the entire day out in the mountain behind my house because we had so much trauma in my family. That was my place to go. And so nature was my first teacher. And then I very naturally, in my late teens and 20s, was drawn to indigenous practices, Native American, mostly South American, and also Celtic tradition, which is a lot of my lineage. And I always ended up in circles saying I'm a white woman with an indigenous heart, because that was the only way I was able to name that my heart was more with the ways of nature and the ways of the indigenous people. And so it's like finding that way. And then it was late in life, I found out I actually have Native American blood from the Onondaga people. So I would say, you know, there, and I know Amber has spoken about this, that sometimes this idea of ownership, which then gets translated into cultural appropriation. And I have really huge compassion for all Native peoples that have had things taken from them, their lives, their land, their everything. But that now is this time to come together and share. And it's just, I've been in so many circles where this is discussed, that if we get too tight with our ownership, you know, we are keeping things from each other. It's like that everyone in the circle is necessary to bring your gifts, your truth, your practices, so that we can all come together. So, and I agree what you said, Nina, learning not to take things personally and to, I call it duck medicine, to be able to let some of the judgments roll off your back and come back to your own heart truth and what you feel to share. So thank you.
May I add
I like
something that I find important? I would like to say, Nina, that no one has the right to define for you who you are. You are the only one who can find that. And just as Maya said, we all have ancestors. We all have our DNA. It's there. The information is there. Me too. I was cut off from my both lineages. I did not grow up with my traditions. And there is no one I can ask. There's no one I can really consult. But I have my foremothers. They are standing with me and they are cheering on as they see me heal their wounds and do their work in this life. And that's really, I think, that, you know, no one can define you but yourself. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, that really means a lot, because it was a big conversation in our community, because there was some accusations that are going on, and I did feel that I feel like people are kind of telling me what my relationship should be with my ancestors and nature. And yeah, that's also how I felt. So hearing that from all of you really like just made me feel so much better about myself, and owning that that it is my relationship with my own ancestors and with myself, and I can connect with them if I want to. And also what came to me when Maya was saying about ownership is with like what came from me when you were saying that, like, in nature there's no separation, like there's no me, this is mine, this is yours. So I kind of just like, yeah, that's right. And so thank you so much for that. It really means a lot to me to hear all of your wisdom, because it just lights up a lot in my brain and my heart right now. So thank you.
Thanks, Nina. And Nina, you said the S word, so I just want to comment on that. Should be removed from every language and every dictionary. There is no should. There's could, but there's no should. So I'm glad you came to that place.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. I see, oh, there's a couple hands, Aliane and then Tanya.
So I'd like to share this, because I've also lived away from my hometown, from my people, and I've lived and I've been disconnected, and somehow within there was this connection that I felt, and I searched for it and I was called for it. But this is something I'd like to share. It is up to us to make the time to connect again with ourselves, with our ancestors, with Mother Earth. And it is not very easy when you've been so disconnected. So it is something that one has to constantly work on and give time to with love, and take out time really to do this, because otherwise it's difficult. and one can never really fully connect till one gives the time for it. And I think that's really important.
Thank you, Alian. Very wise words there. To be gentle with ourselves and know that, yeah, we are all coming from a place of disconnection, varying degrees, but to be patient and know, yeah. Thank you. Tanya, did you have your hand up? I thought you did.
I did, yeah. I just also wanted to comment on that really briefly. That's essentially just what I've been doing. So I strongly believe in everything everyone has just said about connecting with nature and connecting with the ancestors. I have been like given messages and things that have nothing to do with anything I've ever done before, and I've been doubting it and I've been fighting it. And once I got with it and just said, okay, I don't know how to do this, but I'm just going to take the first step, and this is just what's happening. Things have been evolving and things have been growing, and I have no idea where I'm really going. I just keep following the gut feeling or the voice or whatever. It shows up for each of us differently, however we hear or see or feel what is being communicated to us. But to just follow that, I guess, is really only all I wanted to throw in the circle here, is to follow what feels true to you and what's important to you.
I love, Tanya, when you said that follow the gut feeling, I heard follow the God feeling. It's kind of, yeah, following our truth of our spirit. Yeah.
I'm feeling so high now. Right now, I'm so inspired with you all. It's crazy. But one of the things that I heard, when we talk about indigenous, I know we talk about Western, we talk about, because I have like roots from all over the place, like, South American, I mean, like you get blood from Europe, from Africa, from indigenous. It's kind of, but I always been, like this, and I had in my youth judged myself from being white. I didn't like it, because I have all that baggage of like, oh, and now, especially now with this white humanity summit, it's like so many things are dropping. It's because for me, it's like we are one. I mean, now we are one with nature, so it's like everything is merging. We are I feel like merged with I mean, we are nature, we are one, and I feel it, and I can feel it. So yes, we have our lineage, and we need to embrace our lineage and accept our lineage, and embrace everything else, it's like I don't feel separated anymore, or like I used to do when I was young. I mean, of course I left that behind long ago, but now it's like expanded into the plants as well. So when I was hearing you, Nina, talk about your ancestors, I heard this story very beautiful about some people who actually take a leaf of a tree and use it as almost like a telephone to talk with their lineage. And I thought that was kind of very, it's a brother tree connecting us. But yeah, that was what I was going to say. That unity is like now there is one tribe. There is one tribe. Doesn't matter our color, where we come from. We need to honor our, all of that, and merge, like Tanya. Merge it all, merge the animals, merge the trees, Mother Earth, and look into her rights too. Yeah, that's what I feel is. So I'm very happy when you said, Maya, this circle. I would love that to continue. So like to invite it in all the events, like, and then more people coming, like we need to talk with Jim Garrison also. We have it there, have it in Waste Humanity, have it in, and I start growing and kind of yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's Charles. Did you have your hand up, or was I wrong?
Yeah. Matter of fact, to go with this, it is all what you feel here in your spirit, in your heart, how you go with this. Actually, Jim and I come from the same generation. Okay, we were raised up in the same generation. A lot of times, we met 53 years ago, and we didn't even know it. All right. So, in a lot of times, you had a 7-year-old kid at one time that was out yelling his heart, trying to share too, a 7-year-old child. That 7-year-old child was me. I was doing the same thing. It's about, let me see if I could do it like this real quick. Right now, society has taught us, especially in the boarding and residential schools that we had to go to years back. Okay, let's go with this. It actually taught us me, my, I. Okay, me, mine, and I. It's not me, mine, and I. It's backward. That's backwards. It's we, us, ours. Okay. If I do anything, we all did it in the tribe that I come from. If I am asked to do it, and it gets done, we all did it. Okay. So it's a basic tribal thought. All right. Everything is we, us, ours. We do not own the sky. We can't own the air. We can't own the waters. We don't own the land we walk on. In the end, she owns us. So your ancestors are constantly with me. You know, your ancestors are constantly with you. I see my grandfather every day who walked on. And if I don't do as he taught me, I know it immediately, or as he showed me as an elder. So it's that heart, one heart here, your spirit, let it flow. Don't let it stop. So that's what I wanted to share with you, Jim.
So beautiful, Charles. Wow.
Thank you. I hope.
And my heart goes out to all of the indigenous people who were put forcibly in those boarding schools, in those schools. That just, when I first learned of that and I was younger, it broke my heart. You know, it was bad enough just the schools I went to and what they tried to do to us. But when I heard about that, and I didn't know that you went to one of those schools, Charles. So I'm glad that you held on to the we, ours, us.
Yeah, great point. I'm going to backtrack 1 second and thank Veronica, because tomorrow you can bet I'm going to be out there under a tree working with the leaves. I just love that. I see Amber has her hand off. Up, not off, up. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, my grandmother went to one of those, great grandmother went to one of those schools. And yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
mine did too.
Yeah. I wanted to share a way and a tool that I recently used to be able to connect to my ancestors, because I am a Chumash woman that was adopted. Even though I do have other bloodlines in different parts, I actually have 4 directions. So I've made an altar to acknowledge my ancestors from the 4 directions, from the Philippines, and from South America, and my Chumash culture. And this bit of lavender here was to get into touch with my ancestors from the south of France and all the way up to like, you know, the northern European countries. And when I put the lavender in my altar, I mean, my whole body shook with grief, because I had never really, I guess I had never really acknowledged that ancestral line before or enough, because I know it's associated with trauma. I mean, literally trauma in my family. And I just wanted to share that healing space and experience that had happened for me that was very profound and expansive and beautiful. So thank you. I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Amber. I wonder if Sue, you haven't spoken in the circle yet. Sue, would you like to share?
Hi, everyone. As soon as I was able to connect with you all, my heart just expanded. I mean, just listening to all the voices and all the heartfelt spiritual blessings, and it just it's really something I really cherish and really needed today. I went out on the grass and lay down and just let the mother I could just feel her pulling and just pulling out of me just what I no longer need. And the earth is just Mother Earth is just so powerful in all that she has and all that she does for us. And just connecting with her and just being able to share that energy and that love that we have for her, and for her to share what she has for us back is just so amazing and so precious and so beautiful. And it's just it's a gift that my heart will always cherish. And there are times when we need more of a connection with her, and we start getting into our heads instead of staying in our hearts, and that's when you get into trouble. And it can be challenging sometimes to be able to just really stay in that heart space. And I know everyone was really talking about being connected. I'm not sure who said that. And I thought I'd sing one of my songs that I wrote, and it's just talks about how we are all one with everything that's around us. And if that's okay, I'd like to share that.
Absolutely.
Okay. We are the mountains that we see. We are the trees so tall. We are the eagle in the sky. We are one, both you and I. We are the stars that shine so bright. We are the worm that crawls. We are the grasses swaying free. We are one, both you and me. Hey yo, Wayana, hey. Hey yo, Wayana, ho. Hey yo, Wayana, hey na ho, way, hey na, hey ya ho. Hey yo, Wayana, hey. Hey yo, Wayana, ho. Hey yo, Wayana, hey na ho, way, hey na, hey ya ho. We are the sparkle in our eyes. We are the one we see. We are the moon so shining bright. We are one, both you and me. We are the life around us, connected to all we see, and know that life that's everywhere is within both you and me, is within both you and me, is within both you and me.
Oh,
Oh. Oh, I needed that.
Ah, that was heart medicine, straight,
Oh,
direct.
yeah.
Mm.
Yep. I was thinking about this today when I was out there sitting with the trees too. We're in hard times now, and everybody's feeling it. If you're connected at all, if you're walking the road at all, you have to be feeling it. Some stronger than others. We have some who are dealing with this virus. We have others who are dealing with other physical things. We have people with mental things. Together we can get through this. Together we will, because the prophecies say that's what we can do. And I was thinking back on, boy, how do we know that? I was kind of doubting that again, truthfully. And then I come to a circle like this, and I'm having trouble talking because I don't want to get teary-eyed. You know, men aren't supposed to do that, remember? So,
Your tears are welcome here, Jim.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I was thinking, because I picked up Black Elk Speaks again the other day. First time I read this, it sat by my table for 7 years before I could read it. And then when I started to awaken and teachers found me, I read it twice in a row, quickly through. And what I'm remembering from that book right now is, and it's good for us all to remember it now, when Black Elk died, which was, I believe, 6 months to the day after I was born, he thought he was a failure. Check me on this, Chief, but I know I read this. He thought he was a failure because he had these amazing prophecies, and they had not all materialized. One of them we're walking through right now. This is a prophecy he had. And so we have to remember that too. Things that we're doing now certainly will not completely become done before we're gone. That doesn't mean we're not on the right road. It doesn't mean anything of the sort. In fact, it means the opposite. We are walking in a good way. We're checking each other as we do it, and we're doing our part.
actually, Jim, if you let me go with you on this, brother. Hayaka Sapa was a Black Elk. He was a holy man, big holy man, you know, and with all the things that he spoke about. I go with that because a lot of times I see things and I talk about things, and sometimes I even thought I was a failure at what I do. Okay. I still will, probably. Okay. But here's the thing, as elders or as human being in general, we're never going to stop that learning. As long as we live, we're going to learn something. So Black Elk spoke many, many, many things, and many, many things have come, and it's come to pass. So I do not consider him a failure whatsoever. He might have thought that, but the way I see it, it has come. And I've often thought when I was young, no, you know, even if I did something, I had to back up and try it again. I thought I was a failure. But failure is not an option to me. You know, that's not an option. I keep going. Failure should not be an option to anyone. I hold to a saying that John Trudell actually said. He actually said, we're in a time when spirits get eaten. We must protect our spirit. And that's where I see us going too. We're all protecting our spirit as we walk. So in a lot of ways, I look to everyone on this circle here today, the circle with us. And I'm looking at the rainbow. I'm looking at the rainbow. So a lot of times that prophecy is now. So yeah, my brothers and sisters of the human being. Everything on this earth has beings. The rocks have being. The water has being. Standing ones have being. The wingeds, the four-leggeds. We just happen to be the human being. And every one of you are my relations. So I'm with you because the Lakota wisdom keepers once said, for a man to learn how to cry, he learns compassion and understanding. I learned how. It took a fight to learn how, but I learned how. Because I was told never. Don't you ever, you're a man, you can't. Don't do it. And that's just not, I'm a human being just like everyone else. So, yeah, but it's a thing of, we do have to protect our spirit because we are in a time when spirits can get eaten. And I do agree with that. So I give that back to you, Jim. Sticks in the middle.
Thank you, Chief. Veronica, I'll call you out for a minute. Is there anything you want us to pick up? Any questions? Anything? Or are you hanging with us and you're good?
I have questions to the elders about the honoring of the elements and how to also be in union with them. And yeah, that's my one of my questions. And then I have something to say to Aileen that I don't know if I say it now or if I wait after your
Why don't
answer.
you go ahead and speak to Alien and then we'll pick up that question after.
Yeah, so I love how you are harvesting the legacy of I don't know how you call it, your people or your lineage, and I feel very inspired by that, like leaving a legacy and in art. I would like to hear just a little bit more about that, and I feel it's yeah, it's a beautiful way. Thank
you. Somehow the art thing is one of the mediums that I can speak and that they can speak through me. And usually when I am painting or singing or doing this art, I realized, and I have been told, that they're prayers. So I put out prayers through this, and I put this out so that it reaches the ones it's supposed to reach. It's not for everybody. And that the heart is triggered. It is the heart. That's the target. And it's the lepcha people.
Beautiful. Who wants to pick up
you.
the first question on the minerals?
I would just like to respond to the one about the elements, Veronica. Just thinking, my whole life I've been working with the elements and with my healing practice, but I'm thinking when I work with people and for myself was noticing first of all, what one element I've been drawn to the most, and kind of that's like my home place, but you know, and then what element where do I have some resistance or some fearful memories or something, that's a kind of telling me where I need to heal, where I need to befriend that element. Like for instance, when I was young, I didn't like the wind. I felt like the wind was, I don't know, coming into me or something. And I got really, you know, it was too windy. I just wanted to hide inside. And so I recognized that I had some resistance to that element. And I also had lung problems, breathing problems, different things when I was young, and bronchitis and things like that. So I had to work with that. And, you know, again, my way was through my heart to begin to address the wind and call on it and find ways to befriend it and find ways that I felt comfortable, like to bundle myself up enough that I could go out in the wind and start to ease into befriending it. So those are ways of, they represent the parts of ourselves. And actually, for me, the wind is more the mental part. And I was actually resistant to that. I was a very kinesthetic person. I was a water person. And I loved the fire of passion, but it was like I think some of the things that happened to me in my school and my education made me feel resistant to the world of language and the mental ideas. So I learned to welcome that and join with it. And one of the ways for me was to become a poet, to use words in a different way, in a more kinesthetic, felt sense way. So this is just some of the little parts that have helped me. And I just shared a story in the storytelling circle last night about water, that I always loved water, but as I got older, I started to remember that I also had a part of me that was afraid of it. And I shared a story of how I gradually came to peace with that and overcame my fear and came into trust. So I think exploring the elements as parts of ourselves, as our body, relationship to our body, to our spirit, to our mind, and to our emotions, is one way to dance with them. I have so much more to say on that, but I'll just leave that one piece and then see what others have to share.
Okay, nobody picked up the talking stick. I'll pick it up. I guess for me, it shifts. Just like my spirit animals and my totems change based on the need of the moment, so do my connection to the elements. And so I've always had a strong connection to water, but also to fire. And when we did an opening ceremony piece earlier in the week, I assumed I would be fire and Maya was going to take water because I knew if I said water, she'd fight me. So I just thought I'd be fire. And then I got hold of Charles and I said, Charles, here's what we're going to do. Will you be part of this? We're going to be the four elements. Becky was the other one, who was one of the organizers of this conference. And Charles said, yeah, you know, I always do fire. And I went, oh, that's great. That's interesting. And so I said, then I guess I'm going to be air. And that's what I took. And then I called Becky and I said, okay, we've got this set. It's going to be, we're just going to do this off the top of the head, but here's everybody. And she goes, oh, wow, last night I had a dream and I knew I had to be earth. And I was wondering if you would say that. And certainly you did. And so the elements found each of us. And I think it was an incredibly strong little piece that we put in at the beginning because it wasn't planned at all. The elements chose us. We spoke for the elements, and then we put down the stick and handed it to somebody else. So a lot of it, once again, it's being the heart. Sue's song says it perfectly. You know, be one with your spirit and let things come to you. They will. They definitely will. Anybody else? Covered it? Any others, Veronica?
I just want to add to that that I've watched in my life when an element comes very strongly into me. Like one time when I don't own a house anymore, but I owned a home, and everything was happening. There were water pipes bursting. There was a flood in the garage. I had to stop and go, what is happening here? Okay, water to me represents the flow of emotion. And I realized that there was some grieving that I had not done, that I had suppressed. And the water was waking me up to that. And, you know, of course, I live in an area where we've had a lot of fires, and the fires are all around now. So just, you know, inviting that, saying, you know, okay, is there anger in me, or is there passion that needs to be expressed? So when it particularly gets my attention and comes into my life directly, or into my community, that's so a message for my whole community, but that then I just go into communion and ask it, what do you need me to see? You know, and I do have that association of what each element is, you know, what part of me, and then just listen. And oh, I've had some great lessons that way. And if you don't get the lesson, it'll come back stronger. So that's another practice I have.
Boy, you just go ahead, Tanya.
Tanya, go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick to share that I feel the same. It's been different things for me through different stages, depending, I guess, on where I am. I lived near the water for so long when I lived in New York on Long Island. It was right on the ocean there for a long time. And from one day to the next, I realized that was done. I needed to be away from water and in the mountains, and just had to have the mountains. It was like so strong in me that it didn't really matter what the job was, where I was moving. I just knew mountains were going to have to be there. And so just following that again too is the same way I was talking about following the voices and the ancestors. It's the same with nature. There are different things. Right now, this year, it's been birds a lot, and I've been following and just listening to the birds a lot more than I have at any other time. So kind of just go with the flow on that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely go with the flow. And I'm just realizing, I'll just put this in here quickly, but Sue and I lived in Colorado a long time, and we lived up on a mountaintop at one point. So we were total earth beings, but below us was a river that flowed. And there was a huge flood. I don't know, how long was that now? 6 years ago? 7 years ago? I'm not sure. But anyway, it was a huge flood. It took out the roads. It took out everything. And it took out our RV, which was sitting next to the river. And we actually had to be airlifted out in helicopters, everybody who was on top. And I never thought about this connection before, but it wasn't long after that, I believe, that I got the inspiration. I had to listen to what was going on at Standing Rock. And that's when I connected with LaDonna Alward and started the Standing Rock site online and all about water. But I mean, that was a really strong kick by water when we were up on that mountaintop. And we literally had 15 minutes to decide if we were going to be airlifted. So we could only take what we could grab, because the last helicopter was going to leave, which we would have missed, except Sue heard it coming in from above. And there wasn't really any way out other than walking, I don't know how many miles, which wasn't going to happen. So yeah, I mean, just listen, listen, listen.
Thank you so much for the answers. It's like I feel like we are bringing into the circle like all the parts, you can say. I mean, we're all one, but now we're bringing it, like we bring the lineage, we bring the generations, the elements. Now Tanya mentioned the birds, the animals. We talked about Mother Earth, and I feel like it's like gluing all to. I mean, it is all glued together, but in a visual way. I'm very visual, so I always imagine, and it's like we are like all these pieces, and and then we are, look like we are separated, but actually all together, and all of this, and understanding, understanding and seeing the messages from nature, like both the elements, how nature expressed through them. like as well, like Mother Earth send us messages, as Maya was saying, no, strongly. And yeah, it's so beautiful to bring it all out to the light, to remember and to integrate it, like own. No, I don't know how to say it. I don't know if it's own it, but kind of, okay, this is part of me, and this is part of me,
Yes.
and this is part of me, and you are
Mhm.
part of me, and then it's like you feel so expanded. It's almost like, you know, this body, which I'm very grateful to live in. It
Mhm.
feels like boundless in a way.
Yep.
Expanded. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. I think we're going to wrap up in just a couple minutes, Maya, because then it gives us 10 minutes so Aliane can get her part together and we can reopen for her. Again, anybody who wants to stay, I think it's going to be a fascinating program if you can. If not, it also will be recorded, of course. Boy, this was powerful.
Jim, one thing I would like to say to Aliana up here. The last time the first time I saw you, and the first time you started speaking, I just want to tell you how much you touched my heart, and how I thank you for your strength. I thank you for the words you gave the last time. And I thank you for everything you spoke of. I'm with you in heart and in spirit, my sister. I just want to let you know how much you touched me. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Charles. Maya, are you going to read us out with a poem?
Yes, I would. So many words. I always keep a couple of my poems around to see which ones are called forward. And so much of what we talked about oneness, about coming into unity together. This poem came after a very strong dream of becoming an eagle and flying above the land. And it's called Reflections on Oneness. It is confusing sometimes to love what I disagree with, a challenge to embrace the mistaken and misinformed, downright hard to bless the bigots, to extend kindness to the arrogant who judge me right to my face. Harder still to forgive the unspeakable acts of the oppressor for wounds that have echoed through the years, become embedded in the very soil. But who am I to curse what I do not understand, to say that threads of their transgressions have not been woven into my own heart at times, quiver there in shame just beneath the surface of my own self-righteous smile? And why should I spend time drawing the lines between us, claiming this as your territory and a different place mine, when the eagle who flies above us sees with the eyes of truth that all lands undulate as one, sees from the curve of the earth that all that is sent out on the wind soon comes back around to the sender's door, sees with the eyes of compassion that only love can embrace it all. Sees with the eyes of compassion that only love can embrace it all. And that is our work. And we were doing this work here today. I'm so blessed to be in the circle and have you all gathered, and thank you so much.
Yes. Wow. There'll be one more circle in this conference. It's on Friday, I believe, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Did it a little earlier to try to accommodate others. everybody's welcome, of course. I think Maya and I were talking about this a little bit today. Becky's not around. She's going crazy trying to solve all the problems. For us in our room, this was about building energy. This was about affecting change. This was about connecting and uniting. And this circle tonight, to me, was the strongest thing so far in that piece. So just many thanks to everybody. Amber, I know you're there. You're hiding, but we know you're there. Thank everybody for that. And let's keep it up. And then move it into Veronica's event as well. So thank you all.
And I just invite you to go look at the Trello board for the 4 Elements room. There's a number of other events, and they're on demand, some videos and the past videos. So just invite you to go and find that too.
Thank you, Jim, for inviting me here. It has been an honor to be between you all. And yeah, and I will be super happy if you join me. I feel I feel very supported by having you in my back, like the elders and also the youth and everyone.
Yep.
It's really moving.
I think you'll get a lot of support. I think all of us have built some amazing energy tonight, and that's really beautiful. Take a look at Veronica's WiseHumanitySummit.com. It's an impressive piece of work she's done here. So, yep, let's just keep moving, keep the energy flowing.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye, all. Nina, I'm glad you were part of this circle.
Yes, I'm so glad you came.
I'm glad. So thank you so much.
Yep. How do we do this, Maya? Do we
Well, we just stay here. I believe if we stay here.
Do we have to shut off and then come back, or what?
I don't think so. You know what? I'll have to tell you, I tried to live stream it and it told me you do not have permission to live